Do you take any blame for inflation, Mr. President?
Am I taking blame for inflation? No.
Correct. Why not?
Because it was already there when I got here, man. Remember what the economy was like when I got here? Jobs were hemorrhaging. Inflation was rising. We weren't manufacturing a damn thing here. We were in real economic difficulty. That's why I don't.
Well, that was President Biden on Friday, refusing to take any blame for inflation while talking up last month's robust job numbers. But even that talking point didn't hold up long. ABC News and the Washington Post are out with new polls, one showing a record number of Americans, 4 in 10, say they are worse off financially since Biden took office. According to that poll, only 16% of Americans say they are better off financially in the past 2 years. That dissatisfaction number is the highest in the poll going back nearly 40 years. Also in that poll, more than 6 in 10 Americans said they would be dissatisfied or angry if Biden were reelected in 2024. Sean, I am one of those people. I would be angry,
I would be angry
or
as well.
dissatisfied if he is reelected. But, you know, you look at 2020 with the FBI's meddling, you know, the media's meddling with the Hunter Biden laptop story, mail-in balloting, this new terrain that we were in politically. Is it still a fair fight?
No, I don't think it's a fair fight, and that's why if you're a Republican, you got to think I have to win by, a point and a half or two more than I normally would with all the meddling at play. But here in this poll, it also showed that Donald Trump was 4 points ahead of Joe Biden, 48 to 44. So that is scary for Democrats, which, by the way, I think that those smart Democrats in the media and in the party, I watched your report from the last hour that shows that Democrats are moving their primaries to benefit Joe Biden. But I think before they get to that point, the Democrats are going to take out Joe Biden. It's going to be on the classified documents. It's going to be on the Hunter Biden laptop. They can't let this stand. The average hourly wage is up 4.4%. Inflation is up 6.5%. So on average, people are 2% poorer under Joe Biden. You look at the average middle income folks, 80% of them have dipped into their savings to support their lifestyle, buy food, pay their rent, or they are starting to save less. So across the board, people are worse off. And listen, if you want to run for re-election, this is a horrible place to be. And if you're a smart Democrat, again, you got to pull the plug on Joe and take the Newsom or the Michelle Obama or someone else.
Well, and Kennedy, Joe Biden's going to try to defend his economic record. But the reality is, you look at this Fox News poll, 86% of registered voters are extremely or very concerned about inflation and higher prices. You can look at some of those other numbers with high crime rates, political divisions, et cetera. So doesn't it matter, Kennedy, more about how people feel in their own economic circumstances?
Yes, and that is the point. And you can bring out all the charts you want, you can rationalize things, you can shellac the ugly parts, but that does not change the fact that people cannot afford things. And, to Sean's point, when 80% of Americans have had to dip into their savings, and we haven't even entered what many are forecasting the worst part of the economic recession. So it could get much, much worse this year. People are already living below their means, having to dip into that precious savings. So what is going to happen at the end of the year? I hope the economy improves. I really hope it does. I hope that inflation comes down. I hope that businesses continue to thrive. That's, the optimistic side. But the realist in me feels like we're in for a little more pain. And to your point, yes, when people are feeling badly, their votes are going to reflect that. And certainly the polls reflect that. People want something else. Stop telling them that the world is full of sunshine and roses when they are in the middle of a hurricane.
And Harris, they trotted out Pete Buttigieg, Secretary, Department of Transportation, to defend the Biden record. Let's take a listen, then I want to get your response on the other side.
You saw our poll. A large number of Democrats say they don't want him to run again.
He is an absolutely historically successful president. This president has exceeded expectations again and again politically and functionally. At the end of the day, you can't argue with the extraordinary accomplishments, more than almost any other modern president that President Biden has achieved, again, under the toughest of circumstances.
So I find it amazing that the question was about the American people, and all three of those answers were about the individuals who want to be in the White House or attached to it. I find that amazing because we outnumber them. And I don't really get why a secretary in your cabinet, doesn't matter which, role he plays. He's part of the White House. Secretary in your cabinet doesn't see the American people are struggling. Now, we know when it came to supply chain and baby formula and all of that, and you know, the Southwest debacle and everything, and because he likes to fly private, we know that he doesn't see us as travelers, but I was kind of hoping he'd see us as voters, as the American public. Have you looked at the price of breakfast lately? It's still up by 38%. There are investigations now to figure out why eggs are so expensive. And by the way, it was 1.7, the inflation, when Biden took over. 1.7. Some estimates had it even a little bit lower than that. What in the world is he talking about when he says that he inherited a raging high and out of control inflation rate? It wasn't even going up. It was almost as low as it could be.
It was 1.4% when he took office.
Yeah.
And now it's 6.5%. And you're right, it was higher before that.
Emily, is there a danger, though, in underestimating Joe Biden for Republicans?
Underestimating what? I mean,
I guess there's
I don't know. Like literally,
just trying to spice things up.
I mean,
keep the conversation interesting.
I'm not the right person to answer that. I literally can't imagine a more unsuccessful or incompetent person to occupy the commander-in-chief position, frankly. So I don't know. I can't underestimate him any further. He's proven time and time again exactly where his priorities are, exactly who's to blame, the refusal to take responsibility, and the fact that his policies have run this entire nation into the ground. And none so evidenced as that press conference on Friday when he resorted to swearing. He was asked one question about inflation.
What he does.
He doesn't get into the trenches with us. He doesn't say, this must really hurt. Let's talk about this, and here's my answer. He bristles. He gets disgruntled just like he did on the campaign trail when he cussed out voters who dared to ask him about certain policies.
Peter
That's
Doocy.
exactly right. So, you know, you mentioned the price of eggs, for example, and we know that avian flu has a lot to do with that. That also underscores the fragility of our economy. When it's robust, things like that can be absorbed. But when
100%.
catastrophes happen outside of our control, on top of a totally devastated economy, these statistics that you guys were quoting, the 8 out of 10 Americans who have been dipping into their savings to get by or saving less, that happened within 3 months. So within 3 months, the American family can go from their cushion of savings that will let them feel comfortable and secure to having no savings, to dipping into it for the cost of breakfast. And our commander-in-chief, our president, our DOT cabinet, none of them are alongside of us.
So, Emily, so it's safe to say no, then, in terms of underestimating? A hard no.
Where are the fact checkers on this, too? There's no fact checkers. I mean, he's a
Well,
bold-faced liar, and they don't fact check him on any of the news networks.
They're all,
We do.